Hello and welcome to Dumb Talks. I'm your host, Dan Mitchem, and now you know what the acronym stands for. Today we're going to be talking to my good friend, Tim. What up, Tim?
Happy holidays, Dan. I just wanted to give that right out of the way. How are you doing getting ready for Christmas?
Well, I'm old-fashioned, so I say Merry Christmas to you, unless you're Jewish or Kwanzanian or whatever that word is.
Kwanzanian! Ha ha
Well,
ha!
it's Kwanzaa, but what are you if you celebrate Kwanzaa? Are you Kwanzanian? Do you have your tree up or anything, or what?
Yeah, I got my Charlie Brown tree up. Same kind of tree I had last year. It's a fake tree that can be broken down into three different pieces and easily put away.
But it's the thought that counts.
It is the thought that counts. It really is the thought that counts. You got to keep the holiday spirit up, or not so jolly Krampus is going to stop by and pay you a visit.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of which, that'll transition us into our topic today, because you elected that we talk about what specifically, certain
Myths
myths
and
and
legends
folklore.
in general, and especially about how um, ancient traditions have translated into our modern day society. Think of something as simple and as unobtrusive as just saying bless you to someone whenever someone sneezes. I mean, that used to be because illnesses and plagues were so much more common back then before modern medicine. I'm just talking about 5 or even 600 years ago, that anybody getting the sniffles was in danger of keeling over dead. So the best way to ward off illness was to be blessed by the Lord. Now, that isn't necessarily a myth or a legend, but it is a practice that has been started through the belief in the supernatural and now kind of exists today as this ubiquitous tradition of saying, God bless you every time you sneeze.
Well, and I always heard too, when you sneeze, your heart actually stops for a quick second. So back in the day, they would say, bless you, because if you were to die, they want to make sure you get to the pearly gates okay.
That's interesting. I forgot about that aspect. Yeah, I don't know if that is medically true, but I do know that when you sneeze, it is impossible to keep your eyes open.
Yeah, because you just shut down for a second.
There's an automatic bodily response.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back, I said earlier, is that pagan traditions, and we're not just talking about monotheistic religions. We're not talking about the big three, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. We're talking about a lot more ancient practices before the advent of the monotheistic religion, most specifically Western European beliefs, the Celts
Yeah.
and the pagans in the British Isle region of Europe.
Yeah, we were talking about, the relationship of Santa and Krampus. Also the fact that, like, Santa, he was blue and white. That was his trademark colors, but then Coca-Cola bought him out, a long time ago. So now that's why you see Santa as red and white instead of blue and white.
Now, Dan, you and I have had some experience going to, specifically, we're going to talk about Krampus a little bit. It was hilarious watching that movie that came out about 5 years ago. Great movie, just on the surface of things. A lot of good practical effects. It was a dark comedy, so while it was kind of a horror movie as such, it was also kind of a comedy, kind of like Shaun of the Dead. This dude, this demon of Christmas, some might say, has got popular culture resurgence.
Krampus isn't necessarily a bad guy. He's kind of like a mercenary, if you will. He'll do what needs to be done. And I liked relating Santa and Krampus to good cop and bad cop. Like, if you're good and nice, Santa will bring you gifts. But, if you're not going to reason with Santa and be good and nice, then you have to deal with bad cop, aka Krampus. And he's going to do what, Tim?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing with Krampus. You don't really quite know what he's going to do. He could beat you with the whip, or he'll give you coal, or or he'll stick you in his sack and take you to the underworld. You don't know. It's kind of like a flip of the coin with this guy.
Yeah, like a Wheel of Fortune kind of
Yeah,
thing.
you just don't know. You can't be an asshole and think you're going to get away with it. I mean, like, yes, Krampus is a demonic force, but it's a demonic force with a purpose. You're not going to get stuck with Krampus if you've been a good person. That's it. He doesn't try to tempt people like the devil. He doesn't try to make you go into the wrong path. He's only there once you step off the path of righteousness and Christmas spirit. And that's when he gets you. That's important.
Yeah, and going back to the movie, it's nice that the movie did come out because even though Germany and other countries, they celebrate Krampusnacht as the 5th of December, it's a big celebration where they dress up as many Krampus and have a big old parade and stuff like that. It's nice that the movie came out because now it's getting more popularized in America, whereas I don't necessarily think it was that big of a thing before the movie came out. I don't think a lot of people knew what Krampus was.
Krampus is just one of the companions of Saint Nicholas in several regions, including Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, Czech Republic, Hungary, northern Italy, and Slovenia. It is purely pre-Christian origins. Traditional parades and events such as oh god damn it, Krampuslauf,
Krampuslauf.
which is an event that occurs a lot in alpine towns, was a main tradition of mid to Eastern Europe regions. Even more importantly, the resurgence of this mythological figure in Christmas holidays. It's kind of nice to see. I think what's more important is the fact that if you think about it, Christmas being Christmas as it is now, you're familiar with the term Yuletide cheer, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know what the term Yule means? Well, take a guess, because I'm looking this up as you guess.
You're asking me questions you don't have the answer to.
Well, we're both discovering it as we look up on it.
Touche, as I say. I'm going to say like festive or jolly.
Yule or Yuletide is a festival historically observed by Germanic people. Scholars have connected it to of the traditional celebrations to the god Odin, to pagan Anglo-Saxon mythological figures. That is what Yule is. Another pagan holiday, which you may be far more familiar with, Halloween. It
Mm-hmm.
is a pagan holiday. Halloween was once called Samhain or All Hallows Eve. So when Christianity became a more dominant force in Europe as it was spreading, what do you think the church tried to do?
Cover it up and pretend it didn't exist.
Right. The church was trying to convert people. Church is trying to get people to worship God and not the Green Man or Odin or whoever the local deity was in whatever small remote village they came across.
I believe at the time it was the flying spaghetti monster. So
That's right. It was the flying spaghetti monster. What is a good method to get people to follow your beliefs without undermining the culture that you're trying to subvert?
incentives or bikini car washes.
Both are good. But let's take a look at it in a historical sense. What's a good way to get people to follow your beliefs without insulting them?
Crucifixions.
That is also true. I mean, like you can't argue with that. I mean, like it's either you follow our belief or we stick you with nails.
I would reconsider if that was my options.
Right. I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you want to be a dick about it, yeah, crucifixions and executions, or you have to pray on Sunday and not eat fish on Friday. What a lot of Catholics and Christians did during the early time was appropriation.
Ah, yes.
You take what the people already believe in and you just repackage it to have something that is familiar to the people, yet is still what you believe.
Yeah.
How do you repackage Yule into Christmas?
Slap a new can of paint on it and call it something else.
Lipstick on a pig, and all of a sudden you got your new spouse.
But going back to, you were saying some of these things start with Christmas and stuff start in Germany. I looked it up too. It's funny how like Germany did a whole bunch of bad shit back in the day, but they also gave us like the best things of Christmas. Here's a list of things that we got from Germany. Basically, America stole it and popularized it. They gave us the Christmas tree. By the way, before I say them, do you know of any of these offhand?
I know that one of the ancient pagan traditions was to have a decorative tree in your house.
Yeah, so they gave us Christmas trees, Christmas carols, advent calendars, modern day Santa, basically how he looks today, but again, he used to be blue and white and then Coca-Cola bought him out. They beat Pepsi to the punch, apparently.
Hmm.
Imagine if RC Cola would have bought Santa out. We would have a weird Christmas.
Right, RC Cola.
Shout out to RC Cola if they want to sponsor my podcast. Gingerbread houses, nutcrackers, stockings. Before stockings, kids and people would leave their shoes outside in hopes that St. Nicholas would drop presents in their shoes. And then glass ornaments and tinsel.
Mm.
All that shit we got from Germany. So imagine how bleak your apartment would be without that Christmas tree or ornaments or tinsel on it. Also, before lights were put on trees, they would use candles to put on trees.
Yep, that is true.
I can only imagine how many Christmas trees went up like a ball of flame from all these candles on them.
George, is our house on fire? No, dear, that's just the light of the Lord bringing us warmth and glowing light. Also, we're going to buy a new house now, honey.
Maybe we should put something different on this dry ass tree that we cut up and expect it to live for a month in our living room.
Get a fake Christmas tree and a Yankee candle that smells like pine. It's as good as the real thing. You don't need to water it and you won't have any needles. It's important to appreciate how myths, both religious and purely supernatural, shape our modern day society. I mean, think of the concept of a holiday, period,
Yeah.
whether you're religious or not. You have a time of year where it doesn't matter what holiday it is. Could be Easter, because I don't know what God has a giant bunny pooping out chocolate eggs, or Halloween, which kind of makes a little bit more sense because it's a harvest holiday. The reaping of the crops. Things are dying and winter's coming, and this is the idea where the dead can rejoin the living, or Christmas itself, or New Year's, especially New Year's, which is itself pretty, secular holiday as it is, because that's just the turning of the calendar. How these events act like a kind of like a grand clock for humans, for humanity, to find ways to associate with one another.
Well, and if you think about it, pretty much the majority of American holidays are kind of a result of like superstition and stuff. Because you got St. Patty's Day, Easter would be like a religious, quasi superstitious kind of thing. You have Valentine's Day. Yeah, I mean, the majority of them are either religious based or they're.
Supernatural based. It's more than American holidays. It's holidays of the globe. There are certain holidays, celebrated all over the planet in different cultures. It's like I said, it's a clock. It's a way to put a time measurement on throughout the year, where
Yeah.
people are like, okay, here's a time of the harvest, here's a time of celebration, here's a time of mourning, here's this, here's that. Here is a time when people do and act and celebrate in a certain way. It has always been thus, I think, since the first person learned to get out of the caves in our distant past and settle into villages and towns. It's almost like a psychological need of our psyche to celebrate something, to do something that differentiates a day versus any other day from the rest of the year.
Well, and also, you have to admit, it would be a pretty boring year if we didn't have some of these holidays. Yeah, in the moment, you might be disgruntled with some of them, like Christmas, you're running around getting presents, or Valentine's Day, you might be single, or if you're taken, you're, like, oh shit, what do I get my girlfriend or boyfriend or dog or whatever you're dating? They might be a pain in the ass when you're in the moment, but it's also something nice to look forward to. And like you said, it's kind of like a way to keep track of the calendar. It's also something to look forward to, or at least I think. My personal favorite holidays would be Christmas and Halloween. Do you not get excited when you see it's almost Halloween time or maybe Christmas?
Yeah, the season, the run up to it, the day of the actual event, whatever it is you're celebrating, is there and gone. But
Yeah.
it's always the run up to that day. It's the shopping season before Christmas, you know. Even though it's commercialized out the asshole, it's still kind of the idea of seeing these lights being put up and just hearing your favorite Christmas carol on the radio. It's that time again. Sometimes that's all you need to put a little pep in your step.
And it's something to look forward to, like people waiting for my next podcast to air.
Absolutely.
Shameless plug, I know.
Shameless plug.
Well, Tim, thanks for letting me chat with you on this podcast. It was nice, and I can't wait to bring you back for more.
Thank you very much, Dan. I truly appreciate it.